predominantly in the hood, who do you find in the hood? You said this is the part of the hood, right? Okay, I've seen black, I see Hispanics, and I'll probably some Native Americans. But is it safe to say that whatever hood you go to in America, you're gonna find blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? Who dwells in the hood, Trey? Blacks, Hispanics as well, right? So the Bible said if you break my law, statutes, and commandments, wherever you go in America, wherever you go, wherever you dwell, you're gonna be cursed there.
For your wristwatch, got no TikTok. Did you get your mind right? Or did you waste a dog watching TikTok? He come like a thief in the night, yeah. Is you really ready for the day when he come back? He ain't playing no games. Nah, he ain't playing no games.
Yeah, black, white, and native, right? Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 15. You familiar with the Bible at all? Not at all, right? All right, you know who Moses is? Never heard of Moses? All right, so let's go through it slow. I want to show you who you are according to the Bible, and I'm going to show you what you need to do to repent in these last days. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. Watch this. Read Deuteronomy 28, 15.
We're going to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Watch.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God.
So my brother Trey, come here. I want to show you something. On this sign, right? Where do you see yourself on the left side of the sign? Where do you see yourself on the right side of the sign? I'm sorry. Judah, right? So when Moses is speaking, listen to it again, because when Moses was talking, this is who he's talking to. Judah, Benjamin, Levi, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It's who he's talking to, right? Watch what he said.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments.
Now, Trey, you got grandma. Grandma was in the church, right? Do you know any of the 10 commandments? Do you know any of the 10 commandments, Trey? You know some. You know some. Give me a commandment. You know some, Trey. Come on. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, right? Are you from Omaha, Nebraska? You from this area? Is this what the hood would be in Omaha, Nebraska, this area around here? Part of the hood? Okay, what goes on in the hood? Okay, who's shooting, robbing, and robbing? Who's shooting and robbing each other in the hood? Is it white people robbing black people, or is it black people doing it to black people? It's black people doing it to black people, right? So is that loving your neighbor as you love yourself? No. So it's safe to say that we broke that commandment, right? So the Bible is saying that if you decide to break that law, statutes, and commandments, if the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans want to not love their neighbor as thyself, watch what's going to happen to them. Read.
If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Now, Trey, is a curse a good or bad thing?
It can be good or bad.
It can be good or bad? Okay, so if I cursed you, would that be good or bad? It'd be bad, right? So now, we said, love thy neighbor as thyself. We broke that, right? Now, because we broke that, God said curses have to come upon this people, right? So let's see what one of these curses are. Give me verse 16.
Verse 16. Yeah. Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
Whoa, wait a minute. We got to stop right there. He said, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, if you don't want to love your neighbor as yourself, if you break that commandment, you're going to be cursed in the city wherever you go.
Bring it out.
Have you ever traveled? Where you been to? Where you been in Kentucky, man? You were in Louisville?
I was at the bus station.
That's where I'm from. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. You was at the bus station that's downtown. What it look like in Louisville? It kind of look like here, right? But predominantly in the hood, who do you find in the hood? You said this is the part of the hood, right? Okay, I've seen black, I see Hispanics, and I'll probably some Native Americans. But is it safe to say that whatever hood you go to in America, you're going to find blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? Who dwells in the hood, Trey? Blacks, Hispanics as well, right? So the Bible said if you break my law, statutes, and commandments, wherever you go in America, wherever you go, wherever you dwell, you're going to be cursed there. Meaning what? You're going to dwell in those hoods. Now, Trey, how did we get over here to America?
Shalom, Israel. This is Bishop Nathaniel. I want you to know that you can view all our Sabbath classes live on IUIC TV. That's right, I said on IUIC TV. Download the app today. Shalom.
Would you call yourself an African American? Okay, so if you African American, meaning at one point in time you came from where? You came out?
On the slave boat.
We came on the slave ships, right? Now let me ask you something. You're not familiar with the Bible at all, right? So, do you think slave ships are in the Bible? Do you think us coming over on slave ships is in the Bible? You think so? Let's see. Give me Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Now, you've never heard this before, so I want you to hear it for yourself and break it down for me, all right? Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
The Bible said he's going to bring us into Egypt again with ships. Now, I know you said you weren't familiar with Moses and what was going on there, right? What was going on in Egypt was what? Bondage, slavery. Give me Exodus 20 and 2. Because the brother wasn't familiar with the history. So we're going to show you what Egypt means. Watch, read.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 2. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So what did the Lord call Egypt? The house of bondage. So go back to Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. You're learning how to read the Bible now. The God uses similitudes whenever he's speaking his word. Watch this. Read Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68.
Deuteronomy 28, 68.
Watch.
And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt.
So stop. The Lord's going to bring you into Egypt. He's going to bring you into what again? What did he call Egypt? He called it the house of bondage. So the Lord said, I'm going to bring you into bondage again.
Again with ships.
How are we going to go into bondage?
With ships.
How do we get over to America?
With ships.
So when you look down at this sign, what do you see? What's that right there? That's a cargo slave ship in which your foremothers and your forefathers were stacked on that ship like sardines.
Right.
When the top of the ship was 18 inches from your face, it was brought over here to America to be in what again? Remember what Egypt was. What was Egypt? The house of bondage. So whenever you got off those slave ships, what happened to you? What happened to you when you got off those slave ships? I'm going to show you what happened to you. Look right here. What is he doing to the people right there? What's going on in this image right here? He's giving them away, but how? Looks like a what? An auction. So whenever you got off those slave ships, keep reading.
With ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
Because we weren't going to see our homeland no more again. You call yourself African American, but have you ever been back to Africa? No, you ain't been back to Israel. You ain't been back to where you come from, right? Read.
And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies.
And when you get to America, when you get to the house of bondage again, you're going to be sold unto your enemies. Now, what is that talking about? Did we have jokes of iron upon our neck? Is that not us being sold unto our enemies when we were put up on those auction slave blocks? That's what the Bible is talking about, Trey. Did that happen to everybody? That did not happen to everybody, Trey. That happened to your people. It happened to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because while you were coming over to America, guess what? My brothers and sisters, they was going back over to Europe. So it happened to the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You see what I'm saying? All these curses are still upon us till this day. Till this day. Give me verse 48.
Book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 48. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord shall send against thee.
Now you got to serve your enemies. You got a job? You don't got a job? Why not, man? You got to get a job, bro. But listen, the Bible says you got to serve your enemies. Our enemies, hold that. Give me Psalms 83. We got to find out who our enemies are, Trey. Because you just out in society not knowing how to move, operate. You don't got a job. You don't know who your enemies are. What would you call yourself? You lost. And that's exactly who Christ came to save. The lost sheep of the house of Israel.
That's right.
We don't know where we're going. We don't know where we came from. We don't know how to identify our enemies according to the Bible. We didn't even know that our enemies are the ones that put us in these conditions.
Yes.
We didn't know that the so-called Arab man is also your enemy as well. Psalms 83 and 2.
Book of Psalms chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Hey, Trey, listen to this. Your enemies, the people that hate you, they make a tumult. Read.
And they that hate thee,
They that what?
hate thee, have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel.
That crafty counsel was changing your last name. What's your last name, Trey? What's your last name? Wilson. That means your last name is a receipt. Once you got off that slave ship and you were sold, they branded Wilson into your forefathers' back or his head, wherever they decided to brand him at. It's a receipt that this is the property of the slave master, Mr. Wilson. And you carry that name on till today. That's the crafty counsel. So when I ask you what your nationality is, you go back and say, well, my last name is Wilson. That was crafty counsel so that you will not be able to trace back your lineage and say that I am an Israelite according to the Bible, bro. That's crafty counsel. Crafty counsel is setting you up in a neighborhood and only giving you a cash saver for your food. A liquor store, the gas stations. That's where you go for your food, right? For all that food in there, a lot of that food in there, what nutrition comes from that food in these places? None, right? But if you go to where the white people dwell in Omaha, Nebraska, do they got the cash saver? Do they got a liquor store on every single corner in their neighborhood? Do they got a church on every single corner in their neighborhood? No. Do they got dispensaries in their neighborhood? No, they don't. All these things were put in your neighborhood to destroy you, to destroy people that look like you. Keep reading.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones.
The hidden ones is the so-called Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans. When you call yourself African American, when you call yourself Mexican, when you call yourself a Native American, all those things, that shows that you are the hidden ones.
What is a nation?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family.